Okay, what does the author mean when she says her stomach flopped, her knees knocked, her head spun in paragraph 11? Use 2 details from the story to support your answer. So this, what is this an example of? Her stomach flopped, her knees knocked, her head spun. I think I know. Haley was standing on stage and her head started spinning in circles, right? Her head spun, right? You don't think so? That's what it says. What is the author using here? What's it called? Figurative language. So did the author really mean that her stomach was flopping? Was her head really spinning in circles? No. So what did the author mean? Let's go back to paragraph 11 and read it, just to remind us what was happening in that part. And then we're going to decide what the author meant. So paragraph 11. Says, right here, she looked out into the gym. All the kids in the school looked back at her. Her stomach flopped, her knees knocked, her head spun. Why had she ever thought this would be fun? She wanted to crawl back in bed, forget the whole thing, be little Haley, and a shrimp again. So why did the author say that? What was going on in this part of the story?
She was nervous.
Do you think that the author meant she was nervous?
No.
I think that would be the perfect answer. So I would come back and I would say, I'm going to restate all of this. All right. I'm going to do it from over here. This is a hard one to restate. Okay, so I'm going to highlight the whole question. What does the author mean when she says her stomach flopped, her knees dropped, her head spun in paragraph 11? How am I going to restate that? Really set up and think. What can I cross off first? Do you see any question words? Piper? What and does. Okay, I'm going to read it. Tell me if it makes sense. Ready? Oh, no. The author mean when she says her stomach flopped, her knees knocked, her head spun in paragraph 11?
No.
What did I restate? Riley?
In paragraph 11, the author means she said her stomach flopped, her knees knocked, her head spun. She was nervous.
Okay, I like how you said that. There's a couple ways you could do this, and a couple different ways sound good. Here's what I'm going to do. When she says her stomach flopped, her knees knocked, her head spun in paragraph 11, and then I'm going to add this part where it says the author, what? Means. And Riley, your way would work too. So listen to this whole thing. When she says her stomach flopped, her knees knocked, her head spun in paragraph 11, the author means. So I kind of just took this part that says the author, oh my goodness. I took this part that says the author means, and I just moved it to the end and wrote it right here. There's a couple different ways you could say it, but what you should do, Brayden, is read it to make sure it makes sense. A lot of times when I restate these things, it's tricky to make them make sense. So you might have to try a couple different things. When she says her stomach flopped, her knees knocked, her head spun in paragraph 11, the author means that Haley was what?
Nervous.
Haley was nervous is the perfect answer. Do you agree with Piper's answer?
Yes.
The author means that Haley was nervous. So, Zayden, I have restated and I have answered. Now here's the tricky part. When I go to cite, do I want to just use these same words they already gave me? No, I don't want to just copy those. They want me to copy different part of paragraph 11 that proves Haley was nervous. How did you figure that out? Go back to paragraph 11. I'm going to read it again. If you see anything that proves Haley was nervous, raise your hand. She looked out into the gym. All the kids in the school looked back at her. Her stomach flopped, her knees knocked, her head spun. Why had she ever thought this would be fun? She wanted to crawl back in bed. Have you heard anything else that proves she's nervous yet? What have you heard? Riley?
Why had she ever thought this would be fun?
Okay, why had she ever thought this would be fun? Does that start to prove she might be nervous?
Yes.
Do you think it's enough?
No.
I think we need a little bit more, but I think it's starting to tell us how she's feeling. This is not fun, right? She thought it was going to be, but it is not. What about the part where she wanted to crawl back in bed?
Yes.
I think that helps. So if we did this sentence, why had she ever thought this would be fun? And that she wanted to crawl back in bed, would that work? Okay. What about forget the whole thing, be little Haley the shrimp again?
Yeah.
Yeah, any part of the end of this paragraph I think would work. This is all proving that Haley wishes she was not standing on that, what, Zayden? Stage. This is not fun. She wishes she was back at, what? Home. So I'm going to come back here. I'm going to say the text says, and I'm going to copy. Let's see if I use this. Exactly from the text and say, I'm almost done. And then you're going to try, why had she ever thought this what? Would be fun. How many details do I need though? Down at your paper, because mine's all messed up. How many details does it say I need for number 8? 2. So I better do another sentence. The text also says she wanted to crawl what? Back in bed. So I've done R-A what? Raise your hand if you can tell me. C. I'm on my
E.
Zayden, what am I on?
E.
My E, I'm going to say this is how I know. Okay. Do you think I need all of this in my restate? No. I think I could shorten it for this part and just say the author means that Haley was nervous. So I could say, this is how I know that the author means Haley is what? Nervous. Okay, so I'm going to go over what I just did really quickly and then you're going to try this. I looked at this figurative language the author gave me up here. Zayden, you're not looking at it. This figurative language. Her stomach flopped, her knees knocked, her head spun. I went back to paragraph 11 to read it again, to think about what the author actually meant. I restated it and I told you what the author meant. Haley was nervous. I found 2 different details that helped me know Haley was feeling nervous, and then I did my E. Do you feel like you can do that?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to let you try number 9. Let me read it to you really quick. It says, what does the author mean when she says, suddenly all of her butterflies flew away in paragraph 12? So freeze. I know this story didn't have anything to do with butterflies, did it? No. So the author was using figurative language. You're going to go back, read paragraph 12, think about what the author actually meant. How many details do you need? 2. So it's going to be R, A, C, C, E. Go ahead and try this.